Well, Thanksgiving week always hits differently on a football program with all the things that you guys are responsible for, but you get a chance to spend some time together on Thursday. How special will that be on Thursday to do that as a team?
You know, what is really neat here is I do think just the enormous amount of gratitude our guys have for life, for being able to generate and create opportunities for others in addition to their own path. And Thanksgiving certainly provides a moment, hopefully, to reflect that way.
What about you? What are the things that you're most thankful for?
Well, to be around great people, amazing people, day in, day out. And the guys we coach, certainly the quality of this institution, and personally, your family too.
When you made the decision as a group to play a lot of freshmen, obviously you don't know what you have, and a lot of the guys have really grown up, but I look specifically at Max Mustel and the growth that he's made from week 1 to now week 12. What's your assessment of how much better he's gotten week to week?
Well, I think the more you play, the game slows down just a little bit, and because of it, more than anything else, just mentally, things aren't racing quite as quickly. And because of it, you end up lining up a little bit better. You communicate, whether it's with a linebacker, a fellow corner, or another safety, a way that helps them. And usually when you communicate really, really well with somebody else, it means you're a little more confident in what you're doing too. And will be huge for him is getting into the off-season program. For a good number of our guys, I do think just how much college football's changed. Just in the last 3 or 4 years, the number of times you encounter guys now that are 22, 23 years old, where that really wasn't the case in 2021 or 2022. Even the backups a lot of times, just because of the roster constructions become so much different. You're going to see a different body for him physically, hopefully 12 months from now.
Coach, your thoughts on this matchup with Colorado State being the final time meeting as conference rivals here in the Mountain West, and what stands out in that?
Boy, you sure have had a bunch of good games over the years, not just at their current stadium or Falcon Stadium, but some really good ones in Hughes Stadium too, back when they were close to the mountain. They're obviously this year, they are exceptionally talented. As talented a team as we've played this season. Certainly the evidence of that is when you watch them play Washington and it's 28-21 late in the third quarter in Seattle. To watch how resoundingly they drill Fresno State. What was that one? 49-21, I think. They are highly, highly talented. Very, very gifted. And so this will be a tough matchup.
From over the matchups you've been a part of with CSU over the years, is there one game that stands out to you that, brings up so many memories?
Well, I know that, there are many, to be frank. In 2014, they came in here. I think they were ranked 21st in the country. And they had a good team, and we did too. And we came up with a huge fourth down stop. They handed the ball to the Alabama transfer, D. Hart. And we had a tackle for a loss. And about 3 plays later, we hit Garrett Brown on a big play down the field. And Will Conant, on the last play of the game, kicked it right in between the uprights. I think you might have saw Garnhart. If you go back and look at the video, and he gives a little fist pump in the air right up underneath the goalpost. Him and Jeff Koski right there. So that was one.
Coach, I know we talked about this rivalry, but what does it mean to the state to have this game played for so many years, kind of like little state bragging rights almost?
I don't think that's so much the case with us, to be real. And I say that just because you're a much, much smaller school, and your alumni that you do have from here are really distributed all over the country. Not the country, but all over the globe. The other part of it, just 2 completely different ways that you operate. And I think especially in the last, like I said, in the last 3 years. And so I don't, you just, it's so, there's just, I don't want to say there's not congruency. It's just, they're just two different perspectives when it comes to how you function day in, day out, and even probably the vision part of it strategically too.
All right, now another Thanksgiving question. What's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
A turkey. I don't know why, if it was that good. Wouldn't we eat it more often rather than only once or twice a year? But you got to mix a little bit of stuffing in there too.
What will you and the team do on Thanksgiving?
You know, they'll have a team meal. We try to keep that certainly amongst the players. That'll be at 11:30 on Thursday. I like to do it a little bit earlier in the day just in case they really hurt themselves. There's a little more time later in the afternoon and the evening to maybe kind of at least stroll around the hotel once we get up in Fort Collins.
Oh, so you'll have it here.
We will. We'll do it here right after we'll do we'll meet, have a short walk-through practice here, and then go back to the hotel and eat.
And I know there's a difference because of the size of the schools, and I know that it's kind of the way college sports is going, but are you kind of sad that CSU is leaving the conference a little bit?
Well, it's reality. I don't think you can become reactive. You know, it's a little bit of the. It's just going forward. You know, you look. Business-wise, they're going to have a few million that they're willing to pay guys as they go forward, which is a necessity. You know, to compete in the league in which they're going into. I think the other part of it, you just look, college athletics is completely different than it was 30, 40 months ago. That's not that long, 3 years ago. And, you know, you just look at it now, there are so many guys, I don't want to say they're independent contractors, but they're looking for a 1-year deal, and the schools says, all right, yeah, let's bring this guy in here for 1 year and see what happens. And if the individual's able to parlay that into something even more, it happens, and now you reload and kind of reconstruct your roster again. And you just were probably 4 years ago when these two teams played. And all right, we're going to see this guy for 3 or 4 years. That's rare now, you know, and I think that's certainly going to be the case probably here for a while going forward too when it comes to just general opponents. You know, I looked last week, 10 of those 11 starters, like out of their defense, you're like, well, wait a second, they weren't there last year. And I think, you know, when you look at Colorado State, there's probably going to be something that's similar in the way they, you know, just vision-wise, way they're going to operate going down the road too.
The structure of your schedule doesn't leave a lot of flexibility in the non-conference. Do you foresee adding Colorado State at any point, or would you work? Is there ever a chance you guys would drop the FCS opener to get a little more flexibility to get an FBS team on the program?
Well, again, I think you operate so drastically different. You know, now are you able to? I don't think, you know, you aren't going to be able ever to evolve where you're going to say, all right, we're going to have NIL, or you're going to, you know, bring in portal guys. You're not going to do that. So you just, you know, just when it comes to the budget part of it, are you talking apples to apples? I think that has to be a part of the conversation.
And in general, also, when you go to Hawaii, you have the option of a 13th game, correct? Is that still a stipulation?
I believe so, yeah.
Is that something, now that they're back in a, you know, every other year situation, would you ever consider doing that again, just to get a little more flexibility in who you schedule?
I don't make that decision. I don't think so. And the only reason why I say that is I do think to a point there has to be some consideration of the cadet. I mean, if who we're serving is the cadet, and most years, I think it ends up happening like 1 out of every 4 years is a 14-week schedule. But if most years it's 13 weeks, meaning from Labor Day weekend to Thanksgiving, are you going to relinquish a bye to do that? I don't know if that would be best. If we're thinking of the young man or the young woman in that
No,
case.
I'm just asking because people ask me when will they play Colorado State again.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer, so I
Yeah.
don't even know how.
Now I'll say this: if there was a way where you had a bunch of 22 and 23-year-olds and they did too, yeah. Now you're talking a little more apples to apples. I think that you might change your mindset a little bit.
And how's preparation impacted when you don't know who's going to play quarterback?
Yeah,
for them?
great question, right? So here's what we're doing. We're looking at it if 7 plays or something they absolutely are really looking at foundationally. Is there some overlap? There is, or if it's 12 Bullock. Those are the two right now, at least in terms of what our research is. And you don't have 2 completely different game plans. There are a few calls that overlap, but there are some that pertain to each one, and we wouldn't call with the other when they're out there.
You had mentioned guys that have gone to different programs for a year. Rocky Beers was here at one point, goes to FIU, now he's at CSU. In what ways is he the type of player and playmaker that you saw that he could be when you guys recruited him?
Yeah, I mean, he's different from when he was here, right? He's much bigger. He's much older. He has been highly productive for him, though. What's he have? I think it's 6 touchdown catches, 30 catches, played really, really good football. And, his frame's completely different, right? Not his frame, but just his girth is right now.
Brody Bueno filled some pretty big shoes last week as a starter, career high. Your assessment of how he played?
Yeah, he played really well. I think you look here about over the last 5 games or so, his versatility, football comes natural for him. He played very well 4 weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago, where we had him at an outside backer position against certain personnel groups and then being able to play the inside part of it too. You like the upside. He's late in his 3rd year of playing. And so now you start to see some of the maturation and some of those fruits.
When you kind of look back, you've had 3 starters at quarterback each of the past 3 seasons for various reasons, but primarily injuries. When you look at that, are there changes that you feel you need to make internally to adjust for that, to protect that position a little bit?
Well, I think you look at college football as a whole. I think you'd see multiple starting quarterbacks at a good number of places, especially if they're guys that, maybe have a few more carries. Would you absolutely, you're always looking at, okay, how do we reduce maybe some of the contact plays? Yet at the same time, when you have guys that seek that a little bit, there might be something there leadership-wise that you kind of like too. Can there be some guidance maybe where you don't always have to take that direct shot? But when they have a little spark in their eye that way.
But is it sustainable, even with the spark? When you look at what Liam Zarka did, 25 carries in 5 or 6 consecutive games, are there ways within those carries to avoid the direct impact, or is that just a recipe for losing a guy?
I'd go through, I'd look, 2014, how many games, what did we win, 10 games? We had a guy, Pearson, that played, a guy, Romine, that started, and 2016, I think we had multiple starters that year. I believe it was Romine started the season, and Aaron Worthman came in. That team won 10 games. 2019, that team won a few games. We had a guy named Isaiah Sanders that played a few snaps. DJ Hammond started some. Mike Schmidt was a player of the game over in Hawaii. I mean, I don't know if you can say, well, it's always going to be one quarterback. Would you like for it to be? You would. Could you look for ways maybe to reduce some of those carries? You absolutely could, yes.
when you do look back at 2014, you talk a lot about how bodies have changed recently, last 5, 6 years.
No doubt.
Do you have to change as a result of that at that position? Because you can't necessarily recruit somebody.
You always have to change. You always do. You always have to evolve. You always have to adapt. You always do. Do you want it to be where every week it's you're going to do whatever you feel like gives you the best chance for that particular week? Would you like to maybe reduce some of those exposures? It could be helpful. Sure could.
Brody, can you just tell us what this game against CSU means and just sort of this rivalry?
Oh, this is a huge deal, especially in a season where you haven't had things go your way exactly. You've lost some close games and had some injuries, and things haven't looked the way we wanted them to at the start of the season. But getting the chance to not only finish the game with a win, finish on a high note, but to finish on a win against an in-state rival and get to hoist a trophy at the end of the season, it means the world to everybody around here.
Does it mean more that you could have the trophy forever?
It is something to consider. I think our main focus this week is just focus on this game and win this time. But it would be very cool to be able to say that in our last meeting possibly, or our last meeting at least as division or conference rivals, it would be a huge deal for us later on.
Favorite Thanksgiving dish?
I think, personally, mac and cheese, if it's done right, is easily my number one. I can't get enough of it.
How would you cook the mac and cheese if it's done right?
Oh, man. I'm not a huge cook. I leave that to the professionals in my family, like my mom. But I love when you get the breadcrumbs on the top. You get a bunch of different cheeses, and when you pull it, it's a nice stretch of the cheese. Oh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Sorry.
Favorite Thanksgiving memory?
Oh, man. I would have to go back to our family Thanksgivings back in Texas, where we would do, I'm sure a lot of people do it, the family football game. But I grew up in a family with a bunch of cousins, all of us more or less around the same age, so we'd get after it, and things would get really crazy. People would get hurt, and somebody ends up crying, and you're not done until somebody ends up crying. So that's always a great memory to have.
Kind of off of that, Coach said that you guys are going to have a Thanksgiving meal Thursday and then leave for Fort Collins. What does that mean, the camaraderie, and how much do you look forward to that?
I think it's one of the greatest things that we do here. I think at places like this, when you spend so much of your time on campus, on base, doing a million different things, never really getting the chance to slow down. But when you go through stuff like that with your brothers on the team, and then you get the chances to just sit around a table and really get to embrace this family that you have here, that you've built. I mean, you're sad. You're always sad if you don't get to go home. It sucks. But to have people that you're so close with, that you've gone through so much with in the past 2, 3, 4 years, even some freshmen this year that have gotten in and made some huge contributions. I think it's one of the best things we do here, and it's huge as a family.
Kind of a two-parter. Have you ever seen the Ram Falcon Trophy? And when you learned that CSU was leaving the Mountain West, what were your thoughts?
I saw the Ram Falcon Trophy my freshman year when we had that snow game just a few years ago. We got to watch. I went to the game, didn't suit out or anything, but I got to be on the sideline with the team. We won that game, and it's a feeling that's unlike any other. And then losing it last year, a heartbreaker in the last few minutes of the game. It's something that you look forward to, and knowing that we're going to lose CSU next year, or at least in conference, it's hard. You get so used to playing those games and getting so involved in the rivalries around here, because there's always games that mean more. Like, you go into every game that it means the world to win the game, but some games do just mean more. Like around here, Army and Navy, CSU, those rivalry games, it's just not going to be the same in the conference without them.
It sounds like there's plenty of incentive, but knowing that you guys have never lost in their stadium, what does that add to the mix, especially knowing this could be the last time up there?
Oh, yeah. that's something you hear a lot about the history around here. I mean, pretty storied program, especially the past few years. We haven't had great seasons. Obviously, seasons haven't gone the way we wanted, but knowing that we have such a storied history and that there's so many like streaks and winning streaks and things like that that you hear about, and that you're like, oh man, you don't want to be the team to mess that up. It just adds a little more fuel to the fire, and it's something that makes you look forward to this game even more, especially if you know this could be the last time we meet in conference as conference rivals. Being able to say that we haven't lost to them at their stadium would be something you take with you forever.
And I'm sure you're just getting into preparation, but we don't know. Nobody knows who's going to play quarterback for them. How does that kind of complicate what you do, and how much kind of homework do you do on opponents?
Yeah. For me personally, I mean, and for the linebackers in particular, we write our own scouting reports every week. So we do a ton of research on the other team, and not knowing who exactly is going to be at quarterback, but we have a general idea with how much that they've gone through and the people that they've lost, and losing a quarterback for something like getting suspended this past game, it definitely throws a wrench into what you've been planning throughout the year and when you look at them. But we have a general idea of who we think is going to be in there, and we're preparing for all of them, honestly. So it doesn't change too much.
And then kind of the cliche Thanksgiving question, but given your situation, you're getting on the field now. Where are the teams at? Like, what do you have to be thankful for at this point as you kind of reflect on where everything stands?
I think the thing that I'm most thankful for, especially around here, like you get your family and your faith and stuff like that, but the family that we've built on this team, it's something like, especially in the linebacker room, we've rotated guys, we've had a bunch of guys get banged up, but you know that you're going to get somebody's best when they go out there, and it's something that we've grown so close over the past 2 or 3 years, and it's something that I think I took advantage of earlier in my career. I was like, these are my teammates. Yeah, we're going to be friends, but they've truly turned into family, and you don't get that many places anymore, but around here it's real family, the way it's supposed to be.
Trevor, what are your thoughts on this potentially being the last matchup with CSU, and are you sad that they're leaving the conference?
Yeah, obviously there's some feelings behind this season. We fell short to what our expectations were, but all we got to do is just finish strong, and then good luck to CSU going to the Pac-12.
Is there a memory from playing them over the years that stands out to you?
I think definitely last year was very, very memorable for me. I got to play in the second half of the season, and we were struggling offensively in the beginning half, and then winning out those 4 last games was definitely something memorable and that I wish we could have done this year. So all we got to do this year is just finish out strong with CSU this week.
Would it mean a lot to win this game, considering that you might not play again and you can hold that trophy forever?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely one of those wins that are important to us. And as you know, we've lost to CIC this year, which is extremely upsetting for us seniors. That's a game we obviously wanted to win. So if we can finish out the year with a good rivalry win, that would be pretty important for us and very memorable. Yeah.
Favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Ooh, I got to say my mom's stuffing, the stuffing and gravy, and then a little corn on the side is always good. And then the ham's got to be good too.
How does she cook the stuffing?
Oh, I don't know. She does all that. She does an amazing job, and we always have a really good Thanksgiving dinner. Yep.
My final question for you is favorite Thanksgiving memory?
Oh, I got a pretty big family on my dad's side. There's about 26 of us when we're all together. So getting together with those family members has always been extremely memorable for me, and we do that almost every year. So growing up doing that was probably one of the most memorable experiences of Thanksgiving.
Coach told us you guys are going to have a Thanksgiving meal before you leave for Fort Collins. It'll be your final one. Just maybe describe how much you're going to just cherish being with the guys that one last time on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, these guys are so important to everybody, and especially me. It's the main reason you play football, right? To be with the brotherhood and to have one last final meal to kind of signify that our our relationship as a team is really important. And it's gonna be a great experience just to get to have that Thanksgiving meal in the hotel, and just have an overall really positive environment that we can all remember for the rest of our lives. Yeah.
And then how about for you? How's this week going, knowing that your final football game at Air Force will be on Friday?
Yeah, last padded day today, and then we have a spider day tomorrow. So obviously, every little thing you do, you're like, wow, that was the last time I did that. So obviously, there's some hurt feelings behind that, just because you're starting to realize, like, hey, this is your last week to go play football with the brotherhood and really enjoy that experience. So I would like to say that every single senior is sharing that same experience right now. So just to finish off the week strong is going to be really important for us.
You talk about hurt feelings, and obviously there's things you wish you could change about the season, but on the flip side of that, as you kind of reflect on where you're at right now and where your career here, what do you have to be thankful for, on the holiday?
Definitely all the coaches, all the staff that are involved with everything we do. There's so many people that you don't see that do a lot of work for us. So being thankful for them, and then the coaches just guiding us as men and developing us into who we are today. So that's something I'm really thankful for. And then also just my teammates who have motivated everybody, including myself, to push forward when you think things are getting hard. And that's something we oftentimes lean on at the academy. And you're going to go through tough times, and you have that brotherhood set behind you to support you in your growth.
And then back to CSU, you guys are in the unique position that you've never lost at their stadium, and you may never go back there again after, or at least for the foreseeable future. Is that some extra juice behind things?
Yeah, for sure. It's a big rivalry, so to go out there and win one last time and keep that record straight will be really important for us, and we look forward to doing that.
And then a lot of focus is on CSU's quarterback position because nobody knows who's going to play. But you guys are also potentially in flux. You got two bolded names on the chart. What, as a lineman, pretty two different styles back there between the two guys. How does that change for you as you may go to either one?
Yeah, Coach Lobo, our offensive line coach, he's doing a really good job preparing us for whatever scenario we might be in during the game, whether that is we need to pass more or we have a predominantly run offense. So he's doing a really good job preparing us for whoever quarterback is in there, and we have full trust in both quarterbacks to get the job done. So obviously, just staying confident in what we know and what we do, and then practicing the little things this week, making sure we're good on both ends, both run blocking and pass blocking.
What would be the ideal scenario for you in terms of the way the game goes on Saturday or on Friday?
Well, obviously we win. The Air Force football style of offense is, you dominate the time of possession, predominantly through the run scheme. So looking forward to getting a violent game going and just setting the stage there. And then if we need to pass, might as well have a little fun while we're doing it.